That was awesome. Welcome to PaizoCon 10. Hard to believe that I was only 21 when this started. That was not a laugh. Oh man. Okay. 19. Thank you. Before I get into my bad jokes, I would like to start us off the way that we've started off every year since we've been doing this preview banquet, and that is with a word from Paizo's founder, CEO, owner, Majectrix, Queen of the Universe, Lisa Stevens. Please join us. Are you ready to rumble?
Welcome. Thank you so much for coming to PaizoCon and making this such an amazing convention. You guys probably don't know, but PaizoCon's a really big thing to Paizo and its employees. We spend big part of our time each year talking about what we're going to do at PaizoCon, what products are going to come out, what we're going to reveal. We think about this thing, it's kind of one of the centers of our year. And then our amazing staff puts a whole lot of effort into coming up with games and stuff for you guys to do here, because they understand, they can see how much you guys mean to Paizo and how much you enjoy this convention. It just invigorates us for the whole summer, and so we really appreciate that you guys take time out of your lives, come here and hang out with us and give us that energy back, and just thank you for being so great. So anyways, with that, back to work. No. There's a picture of me. Look, I got Pathfinder in that picture. I know. Yeah, put your glasses on. Anyways, and now, back to Eric Mona!
Yeah, look, there's me. Again, welcome. I'd like to start off today's presentation with a serious moment. As with every PaizoCon, with the victories come, sadly, some defeats. So I'd like to take a moment, while we're all here together, to remember the characters who have died here at PaizoCon. If you have a character who's died either in the Delve or Pathfinder Society or in one of the games run by our cruel staff, please raise your hand and we will acknowledge your death with just a moment of silence. All right, thank you. Put your arms down. We couldn't do PaizoCon without brutal GMs who kill characters, so let's have a round of applause for GMs who have killed characters. We literally could not do it without you. As Lisa mentioned, and as you can see clearly on the beautiful program guide and some of the signage, this is the 10th PaizoCon. Yeah, wow. So I'd like to take a moment to remember the very first PaizoCon. It was not too long ago, one might even say about 10 years ago, where two mega Paizo fans, Tim Nightingale and Liz Quartz, decided it would be cool with some other friends in the meetup group to get together with fans of Paizo. And so they started the first PaizoCon. PaizoCon was not our idea. PaizoCon came from Paizo fans wanting to get together. And I still remember when Tim and Liz contacted us and said, so we're doing this meetup. Do you think this is something you guys might be interested in coming to? And we said, sure. And probably about 15 of us gathered in a cozy little basement of a Bellevue La Quinta Inn, which should probably have a plaque on the outside of that door that says PaizoCon started here. And in the Welcome to PaizoCon seminar that I was running with Tim on the first morning of PaizoCon this year, I pointed out that the seminar rooms here at PaizoCon are no larger than the La Quinta Inn basement that once housed the entire convention. And just like the La Quinta Inn, we have helpfully provided you with rooms with pillars right in the middle that obstruct the view of the speakers. So we're hearkening back to that magical time. You can see in this picture, from left to right, that's Tim Nightingale, James Jacobs, Jason Bullman, and the late great Mike McCarter, who always hated having his picture taken, so we would replace it with the head of a dragon. I do not even think the original of this exists. But so this is us accepting a plaque from the Paizo fans, and I am happy to say that that plaque is here with me tonight, 10 years later. Created by Liz Courts, given to us by Tim and the other attendees of that very first PaizoCon. It has a place of honor at Paizo, and it will forever. It is a sign to us of how you guys made this happen for us. And so subsequently, we realized what a huge hassle it was for Tim and Liz, so we took it over. But this would not exist without you guys. And while I've got this in my hand, and while I'm looking at this picture, I will say, James has certainly changed a lot since then. Bowman looks like he's about 14 years old. But goddamn, Tim Nightingale looks exactly the same. So Tim, talk to me. I want to know your phylactery secrets. Because, you know, I wasn't 21 when this started, and I'm starting to need them big time. So if you can give me a hint, I'd really appreciate that. But how about a round of applause for Tim and Liz and all the people who started this thing. Thank you, guys. For the staff, PaizoCon is a tremendous amount of work, from the art team who puts together all the beautiful imagery, to the editorial staff and others who run games, you know, day to night, to the operations staff who runs the store, moves all this stuff in here and makes sure this thing works like a well-oiled machine. It is a tremendous, frankly, a tremendous amount of work to put on a show for some 500-600 people, but it's also tremendously reinvigorating to get to game with you guys, to get to hang out with you guys. As big as PaizoCon has gotten, we really feel it's important to kind of keep that intimate feeling of that first PaizoCon. So I hope that if you see us wandering through the halls and you see us wearing our beautiful blue, I don't know, velour shirts, whatever they are, just grab us and we're happy to chat. These guys at my table asked me questions about my campaign. I didn't shut up for like half an hour. So we would be happy to talk to you guys, you know, have a drink with you guys. It's just an honor to be in your presence, honestly. So thank you all so much for all you do for us over the years. We literally, I mean, honestly, we couldn't afford to do it without you. So thank you very much for your companionship and for your, particularly for your low rolls. We appreciate that. At the Delve. Yeah, thanks. So with that in mind, I would like to take a moment to call out Team Paizo. All the different people from Paizo who are here at your tables. It takes a little bit of time to list them all, but they all make important contributions. So I'd like to take a minute just to acknowledge all of them. I was going to arrange this by team to give little applause breaks. I didn't have time to do that today, so instead I'm just going to read them. And I'm going to stop every 5 or 6 names, and you guys can just clap if you'd like, or not. It's a great time to shove that last piece of meat into your gullet, or to order another drink. So, without further ado, and in no particular order, I would like to acknowledge the members of the Paizo staff, including Pathfinder Creative Director James Jacobs, Starfinder, oh, you know, you can applause if you want, I guess, but, you know. Starfinder Creative Director James Sutter, our Creative Design Director, the head of our art department, Sarah Robinson. It's dark here, so bear with me. Our developers, Adam Daigle, Amanda Heyman-Coons, Robert McCreary, John Compton, Crystal Fraser, Mark Moreland, Owen Casey Stevens, and Linda Zayas-Palmer. How about a round of applause for all those people? All of those people would look like illiterate barbarians if it was not for our editorial staff, so I would like to call out our managing editor, Judy Bauer, and our editors, senior editor, Chris Carey, and editors, Jason Keeley and Joe Piscini. Thank you for making us not look like fools. I don't know if they're here right now or not, but we've had a couple of folks helping us out, not full-time employees in some cases yet, but we have also had Adrian Ng and Lacey Pelazar and anybody else? Lisa Mader's here as well. You can see her blue hair, I hope, reflecting beautifully off the dim light. So thank you guys for everything you've done. And Liz Lydell. Thank you, Liz. Out of sight does not mean out of mind here. Okay. Thank you, guys. All right, so let's talk about our design team, and I'd like you to hold your applause, because, I mean, let's be honest. No, just kidding. Just kidding. Former star of this presentation, Jason Bullman, is our lead designer. Jason, there you are. He's the one with 6 empty beer bottles. And his team of, let's see, Stephen Ridey McFarlane, Logan Bonner, and Mark Seifter. They're the guys who make the rules that, I can't think of a good rhyme. Make us drool? I don't know. Okay, so also, you don't actually have to hold your applause. You can, their egos demand it. Just 2/3 of the staff to go. Okay, let's see. Where was I? Okay, our team. I already mentioned Sarah Robinson, but let's hear it up for art director Sonia Morris and our graphic design folks Emily Crowell and Adam Vick. Where are they? Hooray! Okay. Our project manager keeps everything moving swiftly and on time, and that is Jessica Price. Enjoyed organized play here. We have, of course, the huge cadre of volunteers to thank for that. But we also have our venture mommy herself, Tanya Wooldridge, our organized play coordinator. Tanya, a huge round of applause. All right. It's dark. What's this next name? Oh, that's mine. I'm Eric Mona, whatever. Okay, yay! Okay, and then we have our executive team. We've got Paizo CEO Lisa Stevens, our Chief Operations Officer Jeffrey Alvarez, our Chief Financial Officer John Parrish, and our Chief Technical Officer Vic Works. So, give it up for the suits, everybody! Yeah! I might be the only one of those people who owns a suit. I think John Parrish has got to own a suit. He's a snappy guy. And Paizo's preeminent motorcyclist. A little info for you there, inside info. He is not here right now because he's on the road. He lives on the road. He is the road. Mr. Pierce Waters, our Director of Sales, and his able sales associate Cosmo Isley, who is here clowning around in the delve with literal clowns. Cosmo. Taking pictures, posting them online, sitting in my chair, keeping it warm. Our new outreach coordinator, Dan Tharp, is here. Hooray, Dan. Our director of licensing, Michael Kenway. Our data entry clerk, I almost said dental entry clerk, I'm not even drinking. Our data entry clerk, Scott Keim. Our director of technology, Dean Ludwig. Our senior software developer, Gary Teeter, our community and digital content director, Chris Lamberts, and our web store coordinator, whatever, he's from the antimatter universe of Cord. Anyone? DC fans? Anyone? Yeah, I'm not just a gaming nerd, I'm afraid to say. Anyway, our web store coordinator, Rick Coons. Almost there. Our customer service team, Sharia Kopis, Katina Davis, Sarah Marie Teeter, and Diego Valdez. They deserve a big round of applause. These guys work super hard. You know, this is like, man, everybody works hard. Everybody gets super applause. Warehouse team, Laura Wilkes-Carey, Will Chase, Mika Hawkins, Heather Payne, Jeff Strand, and Kevin Underwood. These people do the heavy lifting at Paizo because they literally do, yeah, okay. I don't want to write jokes for this, you guys, it just comes right out. Okay, our website team is Lissa Guille and Eric Keith. We just hired this dude, he's not even here, but let's hear it for Christopher Caldwell, our new accountant. Yeah! Okay, and then we've got our Starfinder online team, producer Bob Settles and programmer Cole Brown are here as well. Somewhere lurking in the wilderness, in here, you can probably hear him burping, surrounded by a ring of bottles of beer. Where's Thurston Hillman? There he is. Thirsty does our Starfinder campaign. Bless your heart. Are you a Paizo person whose name I didn't list?
John Compton.
No, I said John Compton. Surely I said John Compton. John Compton! Oh, that's right. I think I did skip him because, well, I don't want to explain to you why. But John Compton, organized play lead developer, and the dude who is most likely to be at Paizo at any moment of the night, working hard. So that's it. That's the Paizo staff, everybody. Hey! So I do want to take one moment to acknowledge someone who isn't here today, although maybe he'll be here sometime during the weekend. That is our recently departed, and I mean in a very much living way, Wes Schneider, who has left the company for greener pastures. Yes, Wes. Wes has been our editor-in-chief and has been at the company for 13 years, operating as my right-hand man running the editorial department. It's so hard to fill Wes's shoes that we're not even trying. We're reorganizing the whole department. It's chaos. But yeah, we'll miss Wes, and I thought it would be lame not to mention him because... No, the Goodbye picture was even younger and more emo. But yes, I didn't want to let the night go without mentioning Wes. He's made tremendous contributions, and he's only 5 days out of the office, so there's no real escape from this. You're going to get mentioned, apparently, unless you're John. Sorry about that, John. Okay, so also joining us today at PaizoCon are our guests of honor. I'd like to hear it for our author guest of honor, Amber Scott. Has been with Paizo since before there was such a thing as Pathfinder, but she has been one of our top contributors going all the way back to the magazine era. She has contributed to 4 adventure paths. She has written a bunch of awesome stuff. She's also a computer game writer. She does it all. We're really thrilled to have Amber. We're also thrilled to have Remco Troost as our artist guest of honor. Starfinder iconic characters. If you have appreciated your look at the Starfinder core rulebook cover, Remco has been a huge part of making this new game for us. We're so honored to have him here. He's in the store. He's signing prints of all of his Starfinder art. You can see, actually, as of today, we have some samples from Ninja Division, our partners doing Starfinder pre-painted miniatures. We've got some paint masters in the little glass tower there. We just kind of huddled around Remco's table earlier today and looked at them. It was really sweet to see those, and we wouldn't be able to have those without his awesome art. So thanks again to Remco for coming out. It's 2017. There's not really such a thing as television anymore. I don't know if you've noticed. But Pathfinder's kind of on TV in the form of a streaming service called CISO, and we have a show called Harmon Quest where comedians play Pathfinder, and then they animate it, and it's super, super funny, and the GM is here today with us as our media guest of honor, and that is Spencer Crittenden. Thank you, Spencer, for joining us. A few more folks that I'd like to recognize. I'm told Chris Avalone was here for about 35 minutes today, so hi, Chris. Chris is going to be working on the Pathfinder Kingmaker game as the narrative designer for that game. There's going to be much more about that in the presentation to come. We've been showing some images from it out in the hallway. We're super, super excited about this game, and we're super happy that Chris could join us today for some of the panels about that. So hooray, he can't hear you if you clap for him, so we'll just move on. But hey, Chris Avalon was here. Also, Ben Looms from Sirenscape is here. Ben is a PaizoCon, multi-year PaizoCon guest. He does such a great job having like horrible belches, weird Jason Bullman talking about Razmir. If you hear the what would that phrase say, Jason? Yeah, so if you hear that as you're walking past registration, you have Sirenscape and Jason to thank. But we'll talk a little bit more about Sirenscape as well. But Ben has been such a huge part of the growth of the Pathfinder brand. Like, he's really created the audio landscape of Pathfinder. We're thrilled to have him here, and he will be doing Starfinder sounds as well. Mike Selinker is here as well. Mike, the lead designer of the Pathfinder Adventure card game. Mike and I did a superhero trivia contest the other day. I should say I was just his teen sidekick. He passed me. This is going to be another one for only comic book fans. I'm just going to warn you ahead of time. He passed me in the bar at this tournament last week, and he was wearing a silver surfer tie. And I said, yeah, it's cool. I mean, he's got a silver surfer tie, you guys. That's guest-worthy material in and of itself. But I said, hey, Mike, that's a rad tie. Yeah. The Silver Surfer's name is Norin Rad. And so because I knew that, he's like, you are press-ganged into being my teenage sidekick for this trivia contest. So thanks, Mike, for pulling me in, and thank you for coming to PaizoCon year after year. So that's Mike Selinker. People. We've got Greg Vaughn is here. He is one of our favorite designers. He has participated in virtually all of our Adventure Paths. Also was a contributor before Pathfinder and still is a contributor. He's done a ton of awesome work for Frog God and for Paizo and for a host of others. And he runs a great celebrity game every year where he tries his hardest to kill us, but never really seems to. So best of luck next year, Greg. We're honored to have you. Also here is Neil Spicer, a former RPG superstar, designer of a bunch of awesome stuff for us, including Realm of the Fell Knight Queen, his RPG superstar winning adventure. Neil Spicer's wandering around. You couldn't find a nicer guy in the industry, so hooray for Neil. And then I just listed a bunch of other people who are here. I gotta tell you, this is getting really hard because there's like 5 or 6 gaming luminaries at every table in this place, and so I for sure have left some people out. It's not a meaning to slight you, it's just next year, this is gonna be like the credits of like a Kickstarter movie or something. It's just gonna be like, here's all the famous game designers at PaizoCon. So here's just a few of them. We got Wolfgang Bauer, Robert Brooks, Chad Brown, PaizoCon co-founder Liz Quartz, Matt Goodall, another RPG superstar, Kent Hamilton, Miko Kallio, Ron Lundeen, Jason Nelson, Tim Nightingale, Sean K. Reynolds, Russ Taylor, Bill Webb, and a host of other luminaries. Thank you all for coming to PaizoCon. Lastly, and by way of introduction, I wanted to acknowledge all of our partner companies and friends who are here either as exhibitors or folks running games. I've got most of your logos here. We've got Owlcat Games, we've got Lone Wolf, we've got Sirenscape, we've got Q Workshop, the guys who make those awesome dice. We've got our German partners, Ulysses, who are here with their game The Dark Eye running upstairs. And they just announced relaunch of Torg, the other role-playing game that I was obsessed with as a kid, so that's very exciting to have them here. We've got Frog God Games, we've got Kobold Press, our friends at Wayfinder, the Pathfinder fanzine, a little special heads up and clap for those guys. Not just because they are recording both the audio and the video, how about a personal thank you to No Direction Podcast and Ryan Costello out there. Jackson Games is here running Munchkin, Lone Shark, Lone Shark Games is here. They're the ones who create a lot of the rules and stuff for the Pathfinder Adventure card game. Legendary Games is here. Man, I remember when you guys started with just a couple of products and now you feel like we're gonna need another table for you guys. That's amazing. Our longtime miniatures partners, Reaper Miniatures, are here with an amazing paint and take I guess you could take and paint, but that would be lame. So sit down, learn how to paint. It's a nice little quiet moment at the con if you need to get away. I love the paint and take. Reaper, thank you for coming again. Dragondyne Publishing is here with an awesome booth in the exhibit hall, as are Necromancers of the Northwest, and probably a handful of other folks for whom I do not have logos. So thank you all for coming to PaizoCon. So this thing is called the PaizoCon Preview Banquet for a reason, and this is normally the part of the evening where I would turn over the microphone, perhaps somewhat regretfully, to my friend Jason Bowman for a presentation of what's upcoming with Pathfinder. And we're going to talk a little bit about what's upcoming with Pathfinder, but Jason is 5 beers in this year, and he is not going to be speaking. Instead, I know, right? Just at the moment for everyone to go, what? It's just because he's too drunk, I assure you. Instead, we are going to start off today's presentation of upcoming things from the star of the hour, Starfinder. Starfinder, yes. And to discuss Starfinder and all of the exciting things to come with it, we're going to start with an introduction for Starfinder's creative director, Mr. James L. Sutter. James, why don't you come up here and take over the show?
Hey folks, thanks so much, but really Starfinder is not an individual effort, it is a team effort through and through, so I would like the whole core Starfinder team to come up here as well. We're going to all talk to you, so if you guys could come on up. Yeah, it's fun. It's funny, when we announced this game last year, we had no idea what was in store for us. So it's been a grueling year. What is that? Oh, could that be? It's the Starfinder core rulebook. The aplomb with which he wore the druid robes and the tuxedo. So, here it is. We don't have actual copies of the book. Sadly, they're still on a boat from the printer. But we have these spiral-bound copies that we're going to be using to run the Delve tomorrow. We are switching the Delve over to a Starfinder Delve, so you're all going to get your chance to play. So just for, if you don't know already about Starfinder, you know, it's the game we've been working on for the last year. It is akin to Pathfinder in many ways. It's the Pathfinder universe expanded into the future, thousands of years. So now it's a game of laser guns and magic, of holy plasma cannons and mysterious alien artifacts, draconic corporate overlords and hackers. It's, you know, clearly I'm very excited about it. It's a standalone game, so it is similar to the Pathfinder rules in many ways, and there are elements of compatibility, but it is its own game. It comes out in August here, and we're all super thrilled for you to see it. But I wanted to bring up the core Starfinder team to talk about some of their favorite parts about it. So here, in order that you can't see, it's kind of dark, but we've got senior developer and design lead Rob McCreary. We've got Starfinder developer and new development coordinator Amanda Hammond-Kuntz. We've got developer and Starfinder design lead Owen Stevens over here. And the dapperest man in the house, developer Jason Keeley as well. So I want to turn things over to Rob to tell you a little bit about some of the basic stuff from Starfinder.
Hi, everybody. All right, up here we have some pictures of our new iconics for Starfinder, and I'm just going to give you a quick rundown on some of the races and classes that we have in Starfinder. So right there, first up on the left is Elktronus, our Kasatha Solarian. The Kasatha are a four-armed race from a distant desert world with a highly traditional culture. And the Solarians are disciplined warriors with some sort of mysterious connection to the power of light and gravity. Next to Elktronus is Raya, the Lashunta Technomancer. The Lashunta are a telepathic race that has two subspecies, one tall and lean and the other more short and muscular. She's a technomancer who's a spellcaster that blends magic and technology to sort of hack the underlying structure of the universe itself. Next to her is Keskadai, the Shirin Mystic. The Shirin are an insectile race that broke away from a locust-like hive, and they're very community-minded, but they're kind of addicted to individual choice now that they're not part of the hive mind. And the Mystics are another spellcaster with some sort of connection to a powerful force that grants them magical powers. The next thing we have is Obaziah, the Vesk soldier. Vesk are a warlike reptilian race from a neighboring empire that is currently allied with the other races because of a shared threat. And soldiers, well, they're experts with armor and weapons and grenades. Usually the bigger the better is what the Vesk are all about, or soldiers at least. The little short guy in front is Quig. He is the Ysoki mechanic. The Ysoki are also called rat folk. You might tell because he looks kind of rat-like. They're scavengers and they can be found like rats just about everywhere. The mechanics are masters of machines and technology, and they create an artificial intelligence that can take one of two forms, either a robotic drone companion or a brain implant called an exocortex that gives them some abilities. Next we have, I'm getting confused with everybody, Navasi. She is our human envoy. Humans, well, hopefully most people are here humans, so you know what they are. Super adaptable, and they're everywhere in the galaxy as well. The envoy is a very charismatic people person, and they have a wide range of skills, and they can inspire their allies to sort of accomplish tasks they wouldn't otherwise be able to. And lastly is Isef, the android operative. Androids, just like they sound, are sort of artificial people with mechanical components, but they do have an independent consciousness and soul, so they're living as well. And operatives are the sort of stealthy master of skills, and they like to take advantage of unprepared foes. So that's the really quick, I'm really talking fast, but our 7 races and our 7 classes and the iconics. This gives you a look at one of our race spreads. Each race in the Starfinder core rulebook has a spread like this. These are the Shirins. You can see there's some racial traits there. We also give you some role-playing tips, both on how a race views themselves and how other races view them. And a little section about the home world and names there. So every race gets a set like that, a spread like that. Here's a shot of the operative class. This is one of our 7 classes. Here's Isef again. You can kind of see this, give some of the abilities, just a little quick shot. And yeah, all the classes. One of the other things the classes have is a set of class builds. Every class has a set of 4 sample builds. This kind of can give you an idea of sort of what type of character to play and what choices you might want to make for feats and skills and equipment to do. In the case of the operative, we have the hacker, investigator, thief, and trailblazer. So you can use these sort of as inspiration for your own characters, or of course, do whatever else you want. And now I'm going to hand it off to Amanda.
All right, thanks, Rob. All right, so Starfinder is this compelling world of science, fantasy, and the future, and technology and magic. But none of that would be worth much for a game if it was not for character creation. If you didn't know how to make a character that you could play in this world and embody all of your heroic qualities. So I just skipped that, but character creation, we've really focused in Starfinder on making it as accessible and dynamic as we possibly could. We wanted to make it easy for anybody who's never played a role-playing game before to enter this game and create a character that really embodied the type of hero that they would want to portray. And we also balance that with offering as many customizable options for veterans and for people who are used to Pathfinder and people who have played science fantasy and science fiction games as possible. So there is a whole chapter on character creation that intuitively runs you to how to make a character. Included in that chapter at the end are character themes, which are very much like character traits, if you're familiar with those, that are mechanical arrays that represents your character's upbringing, training, or background. They give you a mechanical boost based on where your character has come from, your character's outlook on life, and what types of things that they have been pursuing throughout their young careers. For example, up here we've got the ace pilot that lets you be the Han Solo type of character, to know all of the things, a lot of things about hotshot pilots in the universe, and give you a boost to piloting things like starships. In addition to themes, we have our tactical rules chapter, which is the chapter for all of the things that you need to know for how to play the combat portion of the game. These are all of the movement rules, these are all of the actions and the action economy and how all of that works. This is your chapter to go to when you are looking at how to run this game and the differences that Starfinder has for Pathfinder. Another really exciting thing that we have are spells. We have a huge chapter of spells in the Starfinder core rulebook. You will notice a lot of conversions that made it over from Pathfinder, like Magic Missile. Indeed. Yeah. Let's hear it for Magic Missile, everybody. Staple spells that you recognize from Pathfinder that allow you to be that powerful spellcaster have made it over into Starfinder, in addition to 10,000 words of entirely new spells for science fantasy themes. In specific, we've got a spell called Microbot Assault, which lets you summon a swarm of little tiny bots to swarm over your enemies and deal all kinds of damage. All kinds of cool new stuff there. And here to talk about equipment is Mr. Owen K60.
Hey folks, so one of the things we absolutely knew you'd want to know is, did goblins survive to get into space? We did our best to make that not the case, but like roaches, they just are everywhere. So it turns out they are harder to get rid of than you'd think. One of the things we really wanted to do with Starfinder is we wanted it to be very familiar to people that have played Pathfinder, both in the rules element and the way that the universe works. So it's way in the future, but the cosmology is the same. If you die, you still end up in the boneyard looking for Pharasma, trying to figure out where you're going to go in the afterlife. Does that mean that we've got demons and angels with plasma cannons? Yeah, sure it does. That's the way these things work. But this is very representative of what we want to do with Starfinder, something very familiar, and yet as soon as you give goblins spacesuits, rockets, and laser guns, they are also new all over again. So sure, we have skills, but we compiled some to make room for, say, computers, because those are important in the future. We have feats, but we simplified and boiled a lot of them down, because now that we have grenades, we had to create the pull the pin feat, so you can set off someone else's grenade when they aren't expecting you to. And that combination of elements, the familiar and the new, hopefully will make it really easy for Pathfinder players to get in, but also give them something new to look forward to, like guns. Guns aren't super common in Pathfinder, they are super common in Starfinder. If you have ever thought to yourself, what on earth is a soldier going to do if there's still magic around, the answer is grab a grenade launcher, a flight pack, and a detonator and do whatever they want to. This is just a small selection of the equipment we have. We could have done pages and pages of the art, but they wouldn't give me that much time for whatever reason. So these are fairly representative of both the awesome look of our equipment and some of the things we have. Last year, when we were saying that we were just starting this, someone asked me, what's the one thing you can promise us will be in the game? And I said, holy plasma cannons. Holy plasma cannons. No, we've got them, they're in there. So you can play a character that does not depend on magic at all. That's an option. Science is powerful in the future. But if magic missile is an option, or a holy plasma cannon, or an unholy plasma cannon, these are things you're going to want. We do equipment, we do cybernetics, we do computer rules, including the ability to design your own computer if that's what you're into. We have hacking. Again, it's that combination of the familiar and things that are new and have a new take. Speaking of the familiar and having a new take, while they're not core races, we still have things like dwarves and elves. They're just in space. You all probably can't see the patch on that dwarf's shoulder, but it has a mining pick and an asteroid. That gives you a pretty good idea what dwarves do in Starfinder. All of the core races have a race write-up in the core rulebook, just like we did for our core races, the things Rob went over. It's a little more compressed because you all have a pretty good idea what a dwarf and an elf is. We just want to tell you what's different when you give them jetpacks and plasma cannons. This is part of the whole legacy section. We have said that this is a brand new game, and it is. The core rulebook is all of you need. But if you happen to own, randomly, say, 6 bestiaries, and you want to be able to pull something out of that and give it a plasma cannon, that is also on your list of options. And we give you guidelines how to do that. Things like monsters are the easiest things to adapt, but with some work you can do other stuff too. So if a priest, soldier, Phrenic adept isn't enough of a holy warrior for you, it is possible to go take other options and try and update them. So that is sort of the direction we're trying to go with this. Of course, there are things that are kind of unique to Starfinder, and for some of those, I want to hand you all over to Jason.
Core conceits we had of Starfinder is that you would be the crew, your player characters would be the crew of a starship, even from level 1. So that's why we have space battles. This is a sort of an extra set of rules that help you fight each other and fight other vessels in space, shoot them down, take their things, and board them, and do all sorts of fun stuff like that. So when you board a starship, you're going to choose one of 5 different roles, and that designates sort of what you can do during starship combat. Sorry. But you make no mistake, the role that you pick doesn't have anything to do with your class or any feats that you have to take. This is all basically skill-driven, right? So you can pretty much be whatever role you want to be, whatever fits your character concept. And to talk about that, we'll be giving you some pre-made starships, of course, that players can pick at first level, and you can give them the stats for that. But we also have a vast, robust rules for generating these things, building them from the ground up, keeping them upgraded, and flying them around to vast unknown alien planets. And we're going to go on to the game mastering chapter. This has chock full of everything you need to know to run the game. Stuff on how to run adventures, stuff for your campaigns. We've got stuff like afflictions, deadly diseases and poisons, traps like certain trash compactor, that's super familiar, and of course, what was the other thing I was going to say? The planetary biomes, like this planet here, because we're talking about this planet right here, which is a beautiful piece of art, but look at that flower. It is gigantic. I cannot imagine the amount of pollen that thing spews out. And if you have allergies, this planet must be hell for you. And I gotta see these two monkeys here, like, yeah, we're gonna get some Claritin D in this. And to speak more of planets and the setting, I'm gonna turn it back over to James.
Hey folks, so here's a map of the packed worlds. There's, Starfinder is a game about exploring a whole galaxy, but really the core of the game setting is this system called the Packed Worlds, which is Galarian's solar system, which I've been in love with and been developing for close to a decade now, all the way back in Pathfinder 12 when we came up with some of these planets. So you'll see that a lot of these are familiar, straight out of Distant Worlds and whatnot, but there are some changes. For instance, Galarian is gone. Surprise! It's fine, it's just somewhere else and nobody, not even the gods, is telling you where it is. In its place is Absalom Station, a massive space platform that's really become sort of the cultural hub of the system. But there's other changes as well. There's also, we've added in the Adari, which is a big generation ship that the Kasatha piloted. And let's see. So all of the planets in this book, we thought it was really important, to have the setting be a part of the game from the outset. So we knew we needed to have the setting in the core rulebook, which was great when Eric was like, yeah, you should put the setting material in the core rulebook. And I'm like, but this thing is already like 800 pages long. Like, do it anyway. So we did it anyway. So there's a really extensive chapter that is frankly my favorite chapter in the book. So all of these planets get a full-on 2-page spread with really amazing concept art. Yeah, right? So here you see the machine world of Avalon, where you see all these cool machine people, like there are a lot of androids there. It's the closest planet to the sun. A lot of stuff is solar-powered. We also have, in addition to the planet write-ups, big section on factions. And you can see factions. Yeah, that's right. Hell Knights. They're still here. Wes Schneider lives on in Starfinder. Yes, you'll see in the factions section, we have stuff that is brand new. We've got new factions like the Android Abolitionist Front or the Xeno Wardens and all these different new things. But there was also some stuff that we couldn't stop playing with from Pathfinder. So you see here the Free Captains that are now space pirates operating out of the diaspora. And of course the Hell Knights, which fly around in their Citadel ships, bringing law to a lawless galaxy. And the thing I love about this Hell Knight is it takes a second before you realize he's a Kasatha. Look at those swords that he's holding down to the bottom. We've also, of course, got gods, because how could you have the setting without gods? And we have a new Core 20 for Starfinder. Some of them are very familiar. You can't have the Pathfinder setting without favorites like Sarenrae and Pharasma. We've also got brand new people like Horus, an alien god that's all about evolution and adaptation. And we've also got, I guess, this Merla-Hotep guy. He's kind of new on the scene, but I'm sure if we give him a chance, he'll be just fine. We've also got a big section on threats, like the massive sort of, galactic scale threats. Some of them are new, some of them are old. You'll see like the Aspis Consortium, the sort of Illuminati type organization. But of course, what I'm sure you're all reading right now is the Aslanti Star Empire. Yeah, and one of their Aeon Guard troopers. People always ask, well, what happened to Aslant? We know what happened to Aslant on Galarian, but we also know they had colonies off planet. Now we know what happened to them. They are still there, and they are formidable. So that's kind of where we're going to end our preview of the Starfinder Core Rulebook. There's, of course, going to be more on the Paizo blog at a regular pace all the way up through Gen Con, so keep checking back. But of course, there's more to Starfinder than just the core rulebook. So I want to give Rob McCreary here, the head of the Dead Suns Adventure Path, a minute to talk a little bit about the AP. Rob?
So the first Starfinder Adventure Path will come out at the same time as the core rulebook. This is the Dead Suns Adventure Path. You can see the cover right here. Dead Suns has to do with basically a mysterious asteroid comes out of hyperspace and it sets off a race to find some ancient alien superweapon. The PCs in this are going to be members of the Starfinder Society, and they've got to travel throughout the Pact Worlds and the rest of the galaxy in search of this alien artifact before other factions get it for, so shall we say, less than noble purposes. And Dead Suns might be an idea of what might happen if the PCs are not successful in this. This is the cover of the first adventure, Incident at Absalom Station. A couple of people had the chance to play some of that today, and a few more people have a chance to play through some of it tomorrow. But of course, it's an adventure path. It's not just the adventure. There's lots of other things in each volume. For example, this first has a big double-sized gazetteer on Absalom Station, sort of the cultural and administrative center of the Pact Worlds. here's a really cool shot of Absalom Station. Also, each volume of the adventure path will have a new starship, a new planet that kind of expands the setting, lots of new alien monsters in the Alien Archive section, and other back matter articles such as Absalom Station. And I think for some more Starfinder goodness upcoming, here's James Sutter again.
Deeply apologize to No Direction, whose mic just got... Yeah, it's probably fine. It's fine. But so... All right, so one last thing I want to leave you all with, and of course I want to remind you again that as of tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., Jason Keeley and I are going to be down there at the Delve ready to start showing you Starfinder and letting you play through it. I'm sure we'll be very chipper at 8 a.m., but it'll be great. But one last thing that we wanted to reveal is the cover to Alien Archive. So this comes out just a couple months after the core rulebook in October, and it's a big book full of aliens, you know, creatures, monsters, races not just for you to fight, but also we put a ton of player race information in here. So there are literally dozens, I think I can say, of... Yes, we can! So there are literally dozens of races that you can not just fight, but play as player characters. Because we really thought it's important in Starfinder to not just fight aliens, but be aliens. So there's all sorts of stuff in here, stuff that's familiar, stuff that's different. You'll notice, like, in the back there is a dragonkin from Triaxis. They're still around, a security robot, and these new creatures called Skittermanders that I'm extremely excited about, that Crystal and Remco came up with. And yeah, so also in this book, I should note, it's not just creatures. There's also a bunch of new alien gear, because when you learn about a new alien, all the aliens are on 2-page spreads. So you get sometimes multiple stat blocks, sometimes you get new weapons, equipment, magic items specifically tied into the technology of that race. So there's kind of a little something in here for everybody. And that's it for the Starfinder presentation. So thank you guys so much, and I'll hand it back over to Aaron.
Wow. Holy shit, I'm gonna buy that game. That looks awesome. Thank you, James and the team, for putting that together. Thanks as well. I'm looking at that, sitting down, and looking at these things like 15 feet tall is a little different than looking at them, you know, on a printout at work. And my God, this thing is beautiful. Sarah Robinson, really, you did a kick-ass job on this game. Nice job, Sarah. That's amazing. And the art team as well. Like, holy moly, and Remco Troost. Oh my God, it's beautiful. It's full of stars. That was really great. Okay, so hey, we still do Pathfinder. I'd like to take a few moments to talk about some of the upcoming Pathfinder stuff that we've got coming out in the next few months. And I'm going to start with the very next hardcover to come out, which is the Book of the Damned. Check out that cover by Wayne Reynolds. That is some evil, man. That's like Mephistopheles. Let's see, and that's Charon, the boatman, who's not wearing his awesome hat. And what is that, Nocticula? Oh my God, they're so evil. Okay, so the Book of the Damned compiles the 3 out-of-print versions of the Book of the Damned. We've done the Lawful Evil one for devils, the Chaotic Evil one for demons, and the Neutral Evil one for daemons. It's a very important A in that word, daemon. And it's expanded with a whole bunch of new material as well. This, I think, is one of the best-looking books we've ever done. And it is coming out in September. And it has got a huge section of all of the different unique fiends that are so important to Pathfinder, including familiar friends like Dispater, and let's see, all the guys on the cover there, all of the Archdukes of Hell, a whole bunch of Demon Lords, and then a couple of Demon Lords that we've not put a tremendous amount of spotlight on yet, like a guy called Orcus appears in this book. A gross-looking thing called Jubilix appears in this book. Yeah, anyway, so there's a lot of evil in this book, and it all looks like fantastically, beautifully appealing, just the way we like it. So yeah, Book of the Damned hardcover comes out in September. We put out some soft covers earlier this year, and we did the core rulebook and Bestiary 1. In 2017, throughout the remainder of 2017, we'll be doing 4 more. There's the Advanced Player's Guide and the Game Mastery Guide that are available now. And then there's the Ultimate Equipment, which has the wrong price. Don't kill the messenger. And Bestiary 2. These have been actually tremendously big sellers for us. I think in part, I have the Pathfinder Society players in this room and elsewhere to thank for that, because these things are a lot easier to carry than those giant monsters that we publish. But we're going to keep doing these as long as people keep buying them. So I'd like to get through the whole darn thing, the whole line. So stay tuned for that. So yeah, more soft covers coming. I want to talk a little bit about the next adventure path. So right now we are finishing up the Iron Fang invasion, and after that we are moving into the Ruins of Aslant. Ruins of Aslant is a thrilling campaign wherein the player characters explore the broken continent of ancient Aslant, discovering all kinds of bizarre lost secrets, immortal enemies, and super awesome, deadly things that are probably best left undisturbed, but we're adventurers, we can't help ourselves. Make a fortitude save or die. So Ruins of Aslant, it starts in August of 2017 at Gen Con. Our new managing developer, Adam Daigle, has been the mastermind behind this thing. The whole staff works on pretty much everything we do, but every one of our adventure paths has kind of a crazy brainiac in charge of it, and Adam is in charge of this one. We're giving people, since we're putting so much focus on Starfinder this summer, we wanted to give people a nice traditional, kick-ass fantasy adventure, and that's Ruins of Aslant. There's going to be some underwater stuff, there's going to be some ruins, there's going to be some aboleths, I think it's probably safe to say. Look at those little scum guys on the bottom there. They're there representing scum kind, saying, "No, Kira, please don't kill us. We just want to rule the planet again for our dark tentacular masters." And Kyra's like, "Shut up, scum." So that's going to be going on from August. Actually, this is my first one of these where I haven't been drinking, and that seems like a mistake. So this is Ruins of Aslant. It's got the whole line of support products from Pawns, poster map folios, and some miniatures that are come out that are specifically, there's not a Ruins of Aslant mini set, but we've specifically seeded an upcoming set with some awesome stuff for Ruins of Aslant. And that is going to take us in classic high fantasy style through to the next year, through January of next year. But we haven't really said what comes after that. Some of you may have known about Ruins of Aslant. We haven't been really secretive about it, but we've never quite said what comes next. But this is the preview banquet, so what the hell? Look, it's War for the Crown adventure pack. War for the Crown has super adventure brainiac Crystal Fraser is in charge of this one. I am super excited for this. This is a war, the War for the Crown. The crown we're talking about is Taldor, y'all. So Taldor, long a bastion of fops and dandies who are maybe a little bit more concerned about their fashion than controlling their kingdom, they need a new ruler. And you, in this adventure path, play the supporters of the goodly Princess Eutropia, who wants to make Taldor reclaim its glory and become a bastion of righteousness and kick-assitude like in olden times, not just sartorially, but also in terms of like with swords and stuff. And so like Ruins of Aslant, this has got a lot of elements of traditional fantasy, but unlike Ruins of Aslant, the focus here is on courtly intrigue, spies, espionage, maybe a little skullduggery. I assume there's probably an assassin in there a time or two. And you are going to be battling against other claimants for the throne to get your lady where she belongs, on the throne of Taldor, which has been occupied by a drooling, mewling idiot for far too long. So this will, some applause for drooling, mewling idiots or for replacing them. You're both of those? Amber Scott, guest of honor Amber Scott, has come up front to tell me She's both of those, and she doesn't mean an awesome princess and a muling. She means she's riding on both of those adventure paths, yes? So this is guest of honor approved, you guys. So this is going to be really, really good. I've read the outline for this. It's going to be awesome, you guys. Taldor, you know, when we created Golarion, people looked at the world and they're like, oh, this world is awesome. There's like a weird ancient Egypt thing. There's this crazy French Revolution country Eric must have put in. There's this crashed spaceship. There's this awesome ancient city with all these warring factions. But like, hey Eric, where do knights come from? And I was like, oh shit. We did forget that. It's from Taldor, but I think it's never quite lived up to the promise, and Crystal's going to make sure that it does, and I couldn't be happier. It's going to be really exciting. War for the Crown kicks off in February 2018 and runs through July of 2018. So that's War for the Crown. There's one more Pathfinder hardcover that I want to talk about today. You guys might have heard of this one. Here we go. Ultimate Wilderness. Already announced, but we've got some new details for you on Ultimate Wilderness. First of all, that's the first time anyone outside the office has seen the cover. And as I've shown a few people this pages from this presentation before I did it, who work for us, is like, wow, I've never seen that before. So this is a preview banquet for the Paizo employees as well as for you guys. So we're all about egalitarianism here at PaizoCon. This is a new Wayne Reynolds cover. This is Ultimate Wilderness. It's got some amazing new archetypes for alchemists, bards, druids, hunters, investigators. A word that's so small on my screen I can't read it. And paladins, mesmerists, rangers, rogues, slayers, and more. What did someone say? Can you read it? Kineticists. Thank you guys for the assist. Yeah. Thank you for the kinet assist. Okay. God damn, I'm turning into my dad, you guys. I'm 42. I can't help it. Okay, so let's see what else have we got. New spells, new feats, all kinds of new stuff. So basically we did ultimate combat for the martial classes. We did ultimate magic for the magic classes. We did ultimate intrigue for like the bastard classes. And now we're doing ultimate wilderness for the wilderness classes and all the nature folks. So there's going to be all kinds of stuff to modify your animal companions. There's going to be a bunch of awesome stuff to really make the most out of the powers of nature. But the best way to make the most out of the powers of nature, and this, in some ways, is a big, this is, I wouldn't say the big reveal. I think that Starfinder stuff was a really big reveal, but we're not announcing the next hardcover Pathfinder book at this preview banquet. We're going to hold that till Gen Con, but it's awesome and it's something people have been requesting for a long time, so we'll see you there. But I did want to show you something you've never seen before. How about a new iconic character? So let's talk about one of the really cool things about Ultimate Wilderness, and that is that it contains a new class. And that new class is the Shifter. So the Shifter is a martial class with full base attack progression. So you can think of Shifters are to druids as paladins are to clerics. So these guys are the fighting hands, or I guess I should say the fighting claws of the powers of wilderness. They are really ready to get up in your face and tear it up with talons, or claws, or beaks, or whatever, because they can change form. So they mostly use their natural weapons. When I was talking to Stephen Randy McFarland earlier today about this is a direct quote. Everybody gets claws. Sounds pretty awesome. And then the nature of your natural attack kind of changes upon what your animal form is. I'm using a form of wild shape. The shapeshifters choose from up to a dozen different animal aspects, somewhat similar to the aspects of the hunter, but with some different changes as well. And eventually, you get minor changes, like maybe you have the aspect of the owl, so you get really cool eyeballs, or maybe you have the aspect of an eagle and you get those awesome wicked talons. Shifters have large talons. You start with small changes, but as you get more and more powerful, you get more and more powers. You can even turn into your chosen animal. You gain more aspects as you go up in power. So eventually, you get to mix and match elements of different monsters. So let's say you had the aspect of the owl and an aspect of the bear. And you like changed into something mighty called like a bear owl. and you can really kick some serious ass as a bear owl. And then eventually you get access to a ton of different powers, and you can manifest all of your different aspects at one time to become a super animalistic ball of flaming animalistic wild fury. So that is the shifter. For too long, the powers of martial ability have been locked in the hands of those capable of wielding swords or capable of punching real good, but it's time for the claws and the beaks to come out. And that is the shifter. This is Wayne Reynolds' new iconic character, so new it does not even have a name. Ladies and gentlemen, the shifter. And now to talk about some of the exciting stuff coming up in the realm of organized play, we have our organized play coordinator, Tanya Wooldridge. Tanya, please join us.
So, what do you want to know about organized play? Yes, I like that answer. Yes, everything. Well, it is tradition that at our banquet, we reveal to you what's coming up for the next year. So this year will be, drumroll, the year of factions favor. We have spent 9 years teasing, dangling 5 factions, 10 factions, 8 factions, actual missions, journal cards. They've kind of come in and out of focus, and we decided as a team this year we wanted to bring them to the forefront. We wanted to wrap up some of those burning questions that you have. We want to go back and mine some of the data and some of the reporting that you've done over these years and see what you think of Caldor versus Sovereign Court, Liberty's Edge versus Android. So we've got a lot of machinations coming out of the team for this one. I think it'll be good. One of the neatest pieces I would like to reveal tonight, and then you have to come to the seminar tomorrow to get more information from John Compton, is that for the first time we are integrating Pathfinder Society's season with an AP. War for the Crown will play out over both the AP and have aspects that will go through the season. This season launches at Gen Con 9-00, Assault on Absalom. They're bringing the war to the city of the center of the universe. What are the Pathfinders going to do about it? Repel! Repel? Let's see. So far, the siege towers and the Cairn lands say that no one has succeeded in taking over the city. Can we keep them away? As a note, tickets for that go on sale tomorrow while you're all here playing games. Not my doing, just wanted to point it out to you. One of the things we've done this year, we kind of incorporated not only the Pathfinder Society role-playing guild, but we also brought the Adventure Card Guild in a little bit closer. They have mostly the same logo, so we kind of brought it. And Season of Plundered Tombs saw the players actually be part of the Pathfinder Society and sent them down to Siren, where they've done a lot of business with some tombs and some undead and some delving and some sage jewels. So if you haven't played through any of the card game season, you may want to go back and pick it up, because we've seeded a few things in there that apply to storylines that were in the role-playing guild. We're going one step further. This year, both Role-Playing Guild and Adventure Card Guild will be factions favor. So we will launch a brand new season of Adventure Card Guild at Gen Con, and it will integrate storyline along with the RPG, so you will be able to cross over and see hints of both of it. For the Adventure Card Guild, you're going to track down someone that we meet in the Assault on Absalom, which will have a card game component as well as a role-playing game component. And then you will get to go off and track this person down and foil their plans. So besides keeping PFS moving forward, we've been spinning up Starfinder Society. Yeah. In regards to Starfinder Society, I'd ask my lead developer, John Compton, our organized play lead developer, to come up and give a hint and an overview of that season as well. Yes, we tried him out of the office for just a little while. As he's making his way up here, so you know, we had an ACG Open today. We've had some qualifying rounds, and I would like to challenge Strike Force and Team the Corsairs to a head-to-head battle tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock here to see who will come out victorious.
So just a note before we move on to Starfinder Society. One of the important things that goes on with adding in another organized play component is that we're expanding the organized play team. You're probably already familiar with Tanya and my work. You're probably also very familiar with Linda Zayas-Palmer, who's been doing a lot of excellent work, especially as I've been spending a lot of time helping to coordinate between a bunch of our organized play programs. Linda's been doing a lot of great work, especially as she's been helping me to coordinate what Path Season 9 is going to take, as well as what a bunch of our factions are going to be doing. So we have a lot of great things to be looking forward to from her. In addition, we're bringing in somebody new. You may have seen from a blog about 2 months ago that we've decided to bring in a contract developer, Thurston Hillman. Thirsty's been part of the campaign family for quite a while. You probably know of him from, yeah, there you go. All the way back to when he was writing scenarios in Season 1 to really redefining what it means to create a social scenario, such as with the Black Rose Matrimony. Thirsty has increasingly been part of our brainstorming process, our writing process, helping even behind the scenes, without the full recognition he deserves, in helping to help us figure out how do these seasons work, or hey, we still have this one bit of reporting data. What do we even want to do with that? At which point he chimes in over Skype, kill them. I want to drink their tears. Thanks, Thirsty. Canadians are very friendly people. So I do want to make sure that we're recognizing that he's going to be the really the head of the individual scenario development. But what sorts of scenarios are we running? Well, in Starfinder Society, we're given an excellent opportunity to take all of the lessons that we have learned over the course of 9+ years of Pathfinder Society organized play and say, okay, well, if we were to create a new organized play program, taking all that into account, what would we change? How would we improve? And so we've taken a lot of steps to change up some of the underlying mechanics of, for example, when you qualify for certain equipment, how you get certain class features, and the like. Even, you may have seen a blog earlier this weekend, how many factions you can be a part of. The answer is all of them. So if you want to be a free agent or basically play every side of the field, you can do that in Starfinder Society. On top of that, though, we're going to be looking ahead to how you as players become part of this organization, the Starfinder Society, that has existed in the setting for several hundred years. And one of the best opportunities that we thought up and have moved forward with is the idea that the Starfinder Society, you're not just walking in as first-level characters in something where there are already these high-level seekers running around, and you're like, well, I sure do have a laser pistol, and they say, well, I sure do have capital weapons on my starship. Instead, what we're doing is we're coming in partway through a storyline in which the Starfinder Society has suffered a major setback, a serious disaster, to the point where most of our seekers, most of our veteran Starfinders are gone. And it's up to you, along with our new leadership, to help rebuild this organization. And in doing so, you're going to have a very active hand in what that looks like. You're going to have adventures where, in a first contact sort of way, you get to decide what happens to this new species that the organized play program is introducing. And then we, and by we I mean especially Thirsty, gets to look at all that reporting data and say, wow, Starfinders, you sure did introduce horrific technology to the species that has now taken over a part of the galaxy. Kudos. We are really looking forward to that level of interaction. And when it comes to return briefly to the idea of that catastrophic issue that the Starfinder Society is recovering from, all of us are looking to a system known as
the Scoured Stars. And so in the year of the Scoured Stars, we're not only going to be rebuilding the Starfinder Society with your help, but we're going to be investigating what even brought up that catastrophe in the first place, and seeing if we can undo that damage, and learn something from it, and even basically catapult us into the seasons beyond. Thirsty has some excellent story ideas. I look forward to working with him and overseeing all 3 of these campaigns. And we will, of course, be answering many more questions about this throughout the rest of the weekend, especially at the Organized Play Q&A tomorrow. All right, back to you, Tanya.
One of the joys I get, John gets to write storylines and cackle with Thirsty and Linda, and I get to work with our team of volunteers that has spread out over the world, 800 plus strong in terms of venture officers, 10 times that in terms of convention GMs and people that have boots on the ground making our society grow. And I say thank you to all of them for helping out. There is no way we could have an organized play program without any of them. Please. It is a tradition with PaizoCon, going back our 10 years, that we name one volunteer of the year, or in some cases 2, we've got a couple, that we say thank you to this person for rising to the top, for helping us out, and for going above and beyond what everyone contributes to our organization. And in this year, I have known this person for several years now. I've worked with them. They are a member of the Venture Officer team. They are also an author who's contributed to several, at least one season of organized play information. They always at conventions, always offering, what can I do? What can my hands help with? How can I make organized play stronger? How can I make Paizo stronger? How can I bring people into our hobby and our game and what we love? This person is an integral member of our Project Swallowtail team, which is the group that works on the adventure card game, tests out mechanics, liaisons with Vic and Lone Shark, and gives us a lot of feedback before we bring the adventures to you. So I would, immense pleasure to call up David Jacobson as our volunteer of the year.
I am speechless. I appreciate this so much. I've really have enjoyed the card game, working with as many people as I can, working with Tyler on the specials from last year with goblins and then kobolds this year. I mean, they're his brainchild, really. And it's been such a wonderful thing to be able to get into the touching so many people with the card game, and I'm going to continue to do that. And so, thank you.
That concludes the organized play side of it and the volunteer of the year side of it, so I get to sit down and go enjoy my beer. But I'm going to introduce our Chief Technical Officer, Vic Wertz, to come up and talk about the card game some more.
Hi, this is kind of weird because normally we come up here and we tell you, hey, here's some new products. In this case, I'm going to tell you, hey, here's why I don't have any new products to announce. So I know you all want to know what the next adventure path is going to be for the card game. The truth is, I have a pretty good idea, but I'm not going to tell you. And the reason for that is because we've done a bunch of adventure paths. We've done 4 now.
We've done, well, it's season 3 of organized play, but really there's 5 seasons. And we've learned a lot since then. And Mike Selinker and Lone Shark, who designed the card game for us, they've also done their Apocrypha card game that's due out at Gen Con. And they've learned a lot. And what we've found is that some of the decisions that we made for Rise of the Rune Lords, which, while great for Rise of the Rune Lords, have not, well, they're limiting our creativity, and they're limiting our ability to tell as much story as we can. We believe, we've been talking about in the last couple of months how we can fix that. And I believe that we are going to be able to provide an adventure card game in the future that will give you more story, that will give you just as much challenge, that will actually be more interesting, more immersive, and less expensive to own, easier for retailers to stock on shelves. Basically, I think we can do a better job than we're doing now, but we need to take a little time to experiment, and I don't know how long this experimentation is going to take. We're going to go down some dead ends for sure. We're going to retrace our steps. And that's why I don't know when the next base set will be. It certainly will be no sooner than Gen Con 2018. I would say Gen Con 2018, not very likely. Christmas 2018, a little more likely. Spring 2019, I sure hope so by then. So that's what we're going to be doing in the main line. We will still keep you entertained with the Pathfinder Society seasons and with new class decks. So, frankly, I've lost count of how many decks we've done. We took a little hiatus on class decks while we were bringing you Mummy's Mask. That hiatus ends in August with a set of 3 decks that we just sent to the printer this week. That includes the Megas deck, a Pathfinder Tales deck, which includes Varian and Radovan, and Hell's Vengeance character set 1, which includes the so-called Evils Iconics. 3 of them, anyway. Following those 3 decks, we'll have another wave of 4. So the first 3 are August, September, October that I mentioned. And then running November, December, January, February, we'll have Hell's Vengeance 2, we'll have the Hunter deck, and we'll have 2 decks for the Occult, Occult Adventures Iconics. And after that, we'll have 3 more at least, and that will take us through May, through the end of the organized play season as well. And right now, if you have ideas about what you want those to be, Lone Shark hasn't quite started working on them yet, and they're trying to decide which concepts they want to do next. So this would be the March, April, May slots for next year. I think that shifter sounds pretty neat, but if you guys catch Mike at a good time, now might be a good time to get your favorite picks in to that schedule. So that's new class decks. As we've mentioned, as Tanya mentioned, we've got the Season of Factions Favor coming up, running from Gen Con through next PaizoCon. There's also going to be at least 2, maybe more special scenarios in there that are going to tie directly into the class decks that are released. They've come up with some pretty clever ideas, Tanya and John especially, about how to work in new characters, evil characters from Hell's Vengeance and maybe from Tales, into the storyline of Season of Factions Favor. Obsidian, you probably haven't heard much from Obsidian in a little while. They're the guys who do the Pathfinder Adventures tablet game for iOS and for Android. And the reason you haven't heard from them is because they've been working really hard on a PC port that'll be a PC and Mac port. I'm not allowed to tell you what month it's coming out. They told me I could tell you soon. I'll just point out that soon rhymes with June. Coincidence? I don't know. And once they do bring that game out, oh, they also wanted me to give you some links. Please follow these links so you can find out exactly when things are soon. And after that, they'll be bringing new content into the game as well. And the first part of that is going to be the Rise of the Goblins. This takes the form of 5 new scenarios inspired by Weeby Goblins and Season of the Goblins. If you've played Season of the Goblins, the first scenario of the Pathfinder Adventures version is going to seem really, really familiar. The second one, a little bit familiar, and from there it goes kind of off the rails. So it's not an adaptation of Season of the Goblins, but is inspired by Season of the Goblins, which was in turn inspired by Weeby Goblins. So somehow this all goes back to Richard Pett. This season of Rise of the Goblins will be for Goblin characters to play. They'll be introducing 2 of them, Ranzak and Poog. But you can't just have 2 people in a party, so we'll be also introducing Goblin alts for the Iconics, 2 of which you can see here. And new asymmetrical Goblin dice. To be honest, I have no idea what that means, but that's what they told me to say. So PC OS X version's coming June, soon, something like that. The tablet game and phone game will still be free to play. The PC and OS X version will be $24.99 for the base game. The Obsidian edition, which unlocks all the content from Rise the Rune Lords, is $39.99. You can actually, without buying unlocking the content, you can earn your way into that through in-game play. So you don't really have to buy anything, but it's really nice. When the PC version arrives, they will also be introducing single accounts. So you'll be able to log in and play the same game and access all your purchases, whether you're on PC, Mac, iPod, iPad, all the same. At the same time that they introduce the PC version, they will also be introducing the Stash, which is a 10-card side deck, so that you no longer need to banish all of the cards that you aren't going to play with when you put them in the game. And they're going to have an all-new soundtrack for the game. So look for that soon. And with that, I'm going to bring you back to Mr. Eric Mona.
Thank you, Vic. Thank you guys we're an hour and 25 minutes into this, so thank you for your patience. We got a few more things we wanted to talk about before we move on to important things like trivia and drinking. And those, by the way, are not mutually exclusive. I've seen the questions that John Compton put together, and you're going to want to drink during this. But we'll get there. Okay, so let's talk a little bit. I mentioned before that one of our long-term partners that we're always so thrilled to see is our friend Ben Looms at Sirenscape. And I wanted to take a minute to talk about a couple of specific things for Sirenscape that are worthy of note. So those of you who have Sirenscape know all of this already, but if you don't have Sirenscape, you should know that Ben and his team have put together amazing soundboards and sound sets for Rise of the Rune Lords, the Hell's Rebels Adventure Pass, Strange Eons, and adventures like the Dragon's Demand. So they're tailored specifically to Paizo's adventures. They are amazing, and they also contain a wealth of sound effects that you can use for other adventures as well. So if you're playing any of those Adventure Pass, if you just want amazing sounds inspired by a wide variety of different thematic adventures, you cannot go wrong with the Sirenscape sound sets. One way that you can contribute directly to Sirenscape is by stopping by their booth out here in the registration area. You've, like I said, probably heard horrific burping and Jason Bullman's voice and wondered which is which. But they're coming from there. And one of the things that's great about Ben is that a lot of the cons he brings a microphone set up and he actually kind of crowdsources some of these sounds. So this year here at PaizoCon he is recording the maddening sounds of a shoggoth, the whispering whispers and belching burps of 1,000 mad voices speaking all at once. You can be one of those mad voices. You can be 2 of those mad voices. And if you want to try Ben's patience, you can probably be 5 of those mad voices. He would love to see you. So come by the Sirenscape booth and add your cacophony to the cackling shoggoth. Ben also wanted me to tell you guys, and this I'm really excited about, you know, we can say like thank you so much to the venture officers who helped make Pathfinder Society so successful, and Ben has really stepped up to the plate to show how important that community is, not just to us, but to our partners like Sirenscape. And Ben is offering all venture officers, they will get full access to Sirenscape's fantasy sound sets for a year. So he has your contact information. We will be contacting, yeah, free guys, come on, yeah! So what you can see here is one of the things we're super excited about is that Sirenscape is going to have Starfinder sound sets available day and date in August with the release of this Starfinder core rulebook. And those will be available not just on Sirenscape.com, not just on Paizo.com, but also in physical form in game stores. So that's the first time that's been done with sounds for RPGs. Ben is a trailblazer, not just in the audio landscape, but in the retail landscape as well. So look for racks that are going to look a lot like this coming to your local game store starting in August. So thank you, Ben, and thank you, Sirenscape. Alright, so our friends at Fantasy Grounds have provided us with a short video to show off what they do with their software. We have just kind of signed a deal with these guys to have Pathfinder content available on their virtual tabletop. They are super excited and they're like, play this video, please! And I'm like, alright, cool, I will. That is a power that I have. So enjoy a couple minutes of a look at Fantasy Grounds. so that is Fantasy Grounds. We're really excited to have Fantasy Grounds Virtual Tabletop added to the growing number of digital tools that are available for players of Pathfinder. Of course, we have Sirenscape, which we just talked about, and then here at PaizoCon, right outside these doors, our friends from Lone Wolf have their Hero Lab character creation software and their Realmworks campaign management software. It's much more than just a video. You can get your hands on their stuff right across the way. Test it out for yourself. We're always thrilled to have them join us as well. So we just keep adding more and more partners to make it easier for you guys to game the way that you want to game. So thanks to Fantasy Grounds, we have more virtual tabletop partners coming to talk about soon. Speaking of coming soon, I mentioned a little bit before, but I want to talk again just briefly about Harmon Quest. Our media guest of honor, Spencer Crittenden, does such a great job GMing Harmon Quest. And this is actually last year's slide, don't tell anyone, but it's hard to get slides out of CISO. But anyway, here's Harmon Quest. Their new season is debuting, according to my best information, on July 27th. Is that right, Spencer? Yeah. That's last year's slide, you guys. Don't pay attention to the dates there. July 27th, from what I understand. So, Harmon Quest is awesome. Check it out. Another partners that I want to talk about is Dynamite. A couple of things that they've got coming out soon. On the left there, you see the hardcover collection of Pathfinder Worldscape, which is a 6-issue crossover with Red Sonja Jarzan and a bunch of other crazy public domain characters that only a complete psychotic comic book fan would be able to put together and write. I wrote it, so please buy it. And then next to that we have the current series written by Wes Schneider and James Sutter, and that is Pathfinder Rune Scars. The first issue of that just came out on Wednesday, so it's on newsstands right now. Rune Scars is all about the mystery of Sione's tattoos. A lot of it takes place in Korvosa, kind of during the Crimson Throne campaign, so you see some lots of Hell Knights, you see some Grey Maidens, and someone is doing something very bad to Varisians, and it's up to Sione and the Pathfinders to put a stop to it. So anyway, comic books, yay! Speaking of yay, one of my other obsessions, let's talk about miniatures. So Pathfinder Battle's next set is Maze of Death. Maze of Death is going to be coming out in the spring, and I am showing off some figures from it for the very first time here today at PaizoCon. Yeah, so check this out, y'all. It's a sea drake. This is like one of my favorite drakes. All of them are pretty cool looking, but this one's got kind of an iridescent sheen to, I'm going to say her, and it's got some, I think those are translucent wings on the bottom there, and I just love the way that thing looms on its flight post, so I'm excited to add that to the already pretty formidable collection of drakes available through Pathfinder Battles. This, by the way, is the 14th set of Pathfinder Battles miniatures. It's hard to believe that there's been that many. I'd like to acknowledge our licensing director, Mike Kenway, who's really put a lot of work into this project. We named it Maze of Death because, like in every set, we like to focus on a couple of key monster types and really give you a nice wealth of creatures so that you can run a really good, compelling encounter with figures that all look like they were art directed by the same person. And we call it a Maze of Death because, of course, one of those races this year, Minotaurs. So yes, so this is Minotaurs. We took a lot of inspiration from the Inner Sea Bestiary product that gave you about 10 different Minotaurs to use. This is our Minotaur artillery with a nice crossbow. But of course, a miniature set is really not a miniature set, let's be honest, unless there's at least one nasty, nasty undead creature. And ever since we saw his original illustration, we were like, we gotta make a miniature of the Ghoul. That's not G-H-O-U-L, that's G-H-U-L. These guys are pretty nasty in Garund and parts further afield. And this, that green bit under his incisors there is, pretty sure that's translucent plastic as well. So we always like doing stuff with clear plastic. Okay, so speaking of undead, well, not speaking of undead, but speaking of things that make miniature sets better, this one's got a dragon in it, and I'm pleased to say it is this guy. This is the large blue dragon. Usually we don't like putting, you know, like rocks and stuff that the miniatures stand on. But the original art for this was so cool. We just thought a looming blue dragon would be just the thing for the Maze of Death. So Maze of Death. One other thing that people have been requesting, like hardcore miniatures fiends who've been with us since the beginning, are like, all right, Mona, when are you gonna get to doing some plants? You know, there's plants in this game. Don't forget plants. And I'm like, oh yeah, there's plants. So check out this plant. Ooh. That's a plant that we're calling, outside the auspices of the OGL, a mind frond. And being the operative syllable in this one. But look at that, it's got like a pitcher you can put your dude in and just get eaten. I mean, you guys are laughing, but I bet almost everyone in here ate a plant today. So turnabout is fair play, you guys, get ready. I wouldn't put your finger in there, but you know. All right, so one of the cool things about minis sets is they always have a case incentive, which is like a really big figure, like a little play set. We've been experimenting with both in the last year or so, so I hope you've had a chance to check out the Crown of Fangs set that just came out. It has an amazing, amazing case incentive, which is called the Court of the Crimson Throne. So there are several miniatures in Crown of Fangs that are usable and useful in the Curse of the Crimson Throne hardcover campaign that we just put out. But once we did in the Rusty Dragon Inn a few sets back, the little bar case incentive that was really, really popular, we were like, you know, we think we can squeeze even more value into one of these little play sets. So the Court of the Crimson Throne has got a seated king and a queen. It's got 6 pillars. It's got a feasting table filled with food. You can get like a turkey. You know, it's got a jester. It's got a gnome executioner with a sweet guillotine. Like, it's amazing how much awesome stuff is in there. But I can hear from the wilderness a voice crying out. It is saying, enough with the dollhouse stuff, Mona, give us monsters again. And I'm like, okay. You can hear it over there. They're saying yes. And who am I but to respond, or what can I do but to respond positively? Yes, we'll give you monsters. And so one of the things people have been asking for since the Shattered Star set, which was one of the early ones that we did, and it contained a bunch of medium elementals and large elementals. And then we did a set a little bit later, and it had a bunch of small elementals. But those of you who are familiar with the E section of the bestiary know that elementals come a little bit bigger too. So in fact, elementals come in the huge variety. And so, for Maze of Death, included in the incentive box is going to be this huge air elemental. Ooh, check out, now normally, because we want to focus on the miniature, we will cut out the little size comparison, but I'm gonna point this out, because holy crap, look at this. So when you plop this thing down with what I hope is like a resounding crash on your flip mat and your players start to wet themselves, who better to take care of a liquid mess than a water elemental, which will also be in the same set. So you're going to get both the huge air and the huge water elemental. Now I'm gonna do the Vanna White thing again. I gotta run up to this thing because there's something else really important that might be a little bit hard to see. So watch this, center screen, y'all. Okay, here we go.
Look at this stuff. You see that? There's like weapons and like 2 dudes, there's some shields and like I assume like flaps of skin or something. Check this out. They're inside the water elemental. Those are drowned dudes.
So, like, yeah, you're like, what's gonna happen to me? Well, you're gonna get sucked into this water elemental and you're gonna drown. Like these guys. So holy moly. So, okay, so water elemental, air elemental, 2-pack as the case incentive special limited edition figures for the Maze of Death. So, of course, y'all are, I say y'all a lot. You guys are probably asking, okay, what about the fire elemental? What about the earth elemental? They're not in this set. They're not in this set. They wouldn't let me do 4 huge miniatures in one box. Call me crazy. They don't want to go broke. But we will be doing those in a future set. So I was like, you guys, I do not want to do the water elemental and the air elemental and never get to the other two. There's like 800 people at PaizoCon who will kill me if we don't get a full set of huge elementals. Please promise me you guys will do at least a couple more sets so we can do this. And they're like, dude, of course we're gonna do more sets. So hey, we'll get to those eventually. And there's other stuff coming too.
And by the way, he's not lying. He really did happen.
I would never lie at PaizoCon. Not with the weight of this responsibility on my shoulders. Yeah, no, I'm not lying. Lisa said it must be true. Okay, speaking of Lisa, here with another heap and helping of truth, Lisa is coming back to talk about some more awesome stuff. All right, Lisa.
Wow. That's 2002 at Gen Con, the first Paizo booth, inside the Wizards of the Coast booth, where we sat there and sold subscriptions to Dragon and Dungeon and Star Wars Insider, and wow. All right, so cool. So I'm going to talk to you about a few more things. Oh boy, I better talk fast, it's getting late. So I deal with a lot of different things, and one of the things I've been doing a lot lately with is various electronic game type stuff. And so one of the ones that you've heard about from me in the past, what I want to give you some new information on, is Pathfinder Online. So Pathfinder Online is a crazy story that I should probably write a book about someday. It started off with a company called Goblinworks doing a licensed game from us. Goblinworks started building the game. They spent a number of years building the game up and ran out of money. And last year, I've been trying to find someone to take it over. And at the end of the year, Goblinworks went away, and Paizo ended up getting the rights to the game. And so I didn't know what to do with it at that time. So I actually, in the course of my looking around, I ran into a gentleman who ran the biggest consulting firm for digital entertainment out there. And it turns out he's a huge Lisa Stevenson Pathfinder fan. And after talking to him and him geeking out about everything I've done in my lifetime, he agreed to actually look at Pathfinder Online and give me an honest evaluation of what I should do with it. And so after about a month and a half of his top guys looking at it, he came back and said, what I think you should do is I think Paizo should finish it up. He said, it's really close. It's got a lot of stuff in there right now. It just needs, and he gave me this checklist of here's the things we think it needs. And if you can get those things done, I mean, by the end of the year, you have a pretty nice little game. Now, it's not going to be a big AAA MMO, but it'll be a nice little indie MMO from a really cool company, and he thought that would be really successful. So, we decided to do it. So, here's a elemental that we have in the game. In February, we released this roadmap based on the information that they gave me of how to basically finish up the game. Those are Durgar, by the way. And yes, they've killed you a few times, I know. That's not good, I don't think. Might be. And anyway, so we did this roadmap to release. We just did the first part of the roadmap right before PaizoCon. We have basically themes for each of the upcoming releases. The next one's going to focus a lot on new players and giving new players the tools they need to learn the game. There's already tutorials and stuff in the game, but there's really needs a little bit more information. It's a pretty complex game system that once you understand it, has lots of fiddly bits that are a little fun to play with, and the character building is really robust. But we need better tools, and so that's a lot what we're doing the next months. And then we're finishing a bunch of the systems off, ammo. Right now there's free ammo in the world, and that's never good. No, it's not. And we're going to be there's a whole section about building up cities and upgrading them. Maybe we'll put castles in the game. It's pretty cool. And then we're going to do a whole enchanting system where you can enchant rings and cloaks and swords and wands and everything else, and add more powers to them. And anyways, there's this whole roadmap. If you go to PathfinderOnline.com, you can see the roadmap. And So we're up in Cascade 12. There's you can kind of demo the game the way it is right now. And with over the past couple of years, they've been spending a lot of time cleaning up the game, removing a lot of the bugs. It's pretty cool. And as a special favor to you guys here at PaizoCon, and that no direction thing just got hit again, I'm giving you guys a free 2-month account in the game. To come try it out. All you gotta do is come up to Cascade 12, talk to Bob, and Bob can set you up with a free account. You can check it out. That's a guy named Filane running away from somebody. And so anyway, I really, the game's still a work in progress. We have a really great community, and it's a great chance to get involved in the game and give feedback. There's a lot to do in the game. It's not a story-based game, it's a sandbox game where you come in and it's a persistent world where everything you do in the game actually stays there. There's one world. Someone tears down a building, it's torn down for everybody. If someone kills a boss, it's gone until it spawns somewhere else. It's pretty cool. It's pretty unique. No one's doing the single world thing, and so we got like a little niche to ourselves, which is kind of nice. So anyway, come check it out if you're interested. Cascade 12, Bob and Cole are up there. They're the team, a very small team that's working on it, and we'd love to talk to you about it. All right, so now I get to talk to you about something that we haven't announced anywhere. Literally, the press release is going out after this convention, after this banquet. I've been working on a license for a new digital game with a company called 37 Games. They're a big company in China. They're the second largest mobile game company, and they're going to be doing a free-to-play digital collectible card game based on Pathfinder. And the first one's going to actually be based on Rise of the Runelords. They have a mechanic that they've been using for over 2.5 years in China. They're going to use that mechanic. They've actually worked it out really well to get it really streamlined and balanced. And now they're going to come and put Pathfinder on it and put that out in the Western market. And it's really exciting what they have in store with it. It's going to have a lot of, it's going to have a dueling aspect, but it's also got a story aspect that so you can do like play against a computer, but also play against other players. And like any CCG, it's going to have a collectible element to it. Anyways, they're going to have a lot of information coming out over the next months. And I had a chance to be in a phone call with these guys about 2 weeks ago, and it was really funny listening to a bunch of geeky Chinese guys geeking out on Pathfinder in Chinese. It was just hilarious, but you can understand like every third word because it was some Pathfinder reference, and they would just start talking about alignments and stuff, and just laughing their butts off. And it was really fun, but it made me understood they really, really loved the brand, and they really love. They were really intimately understood Pathfinder, and I think they're going to make a really fun game. It's going to be very different from anything we've done before, and will be a nice addition to what we're offering for Pathfinder in a digital games way. The other big thing that we've been just announced recently, and we've had a seminar today and stuff, is Pathfinder Kingmaker. Another thing that's been a long time in the making. A number of years ago, I had the pleasure of having dinner with Chris Avalon at the time he was with Obsidian, and we kind of geeked out about doing a Pathfinder CRPG. And ever since then, Chris has been playing matchmaker, trying to hook me up with various companies to get them to do a Pathfinder CRPG. Of course, Chris is saying, and then if you'd like to hire me, I'd love to work on it. Last year, he introduced me to the guys at Allcat Games, and their lead designer, Alexander Mashulin, came over to Gen Con and pitched me on what they could do for Pathfinder, and specifically Kingmaker, which they were all in love with. They were playing Kingmaker campaign in their home campaign. And by the way, their parent company actually does the Russian translation of Pathfinder tabletop game and also the Pathfinder adventure card game. So they're intimately familiar with what we do. And Alexander came and we had lunch, and he started showing me some artwork they'd done on spec to kind of show me kind of things they want to do. And They had this awesome picture of this vast wilderness full of old ruins, and then in the middle you can kind of see this ruined castle and this owl bear going through, and I was just like, they totally get it. It's like, I want to go over there, I want to go over there, I want to see what's over there. And then they started showing me all this other artwork, and I started geeking out so badly I had to get back to the booth and take Alexander into our back and say, Eric, Jeff, Sarah, come over here, see this. And before you know, I'm having half the staff coming through, looking at the artwork and stuff, and I knew that we had found a spiritual match. And so we started working on the contract, and they've been working on the game, and ta-da, we're here. So anyways, it's very exciting. We're still probably about a year out or so before that gets released, but they already have what I call a vertical slice. It's a slice of the game, about maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours of gameplay that we got to play through at the Paizo offices, and it's amazing. The staff is circulating through that and playing around with it. Just show you some of the images and stuff that that we shared earlier today. This is, some of the landscape. Show you some of the art stuff. We have different, they've been working on some concepts for different robes, for different classes, or for different clothing. And giving us some concept art for different things. And then like gnomes, and it's like your female gnome. And look at the beard in that male gnome down there, isn't that awesome? I totally want Eric to have that beard. But you can see they totally got the look and feel of our gnomes and gave them that real fey feel. Here's some different armor types they have, padded armor, and looks like a chain shirt, and hide armor. And then we got some cool monsters, giants. That's a frost giant, if I see right. Hill giant, looking like very brutish. Here's a wyvern. Yeah, pretty cool, huh? And then we have the Hathak, right? Yeah, you can see with the extra arms. They should go to space. And then the Slurk. And for those of you from Wisconsin, you might recognize the hood egg down there too. But yeah, this Slurk this is appropriate to end with because the Slurk was one of the first monsters we ever made that was particularly Pathfinder. It was in Crown of the Kobold King, way back in the day in 2006, 7? So yeah, so anyways, there's a ton more. These guys produce like new stuff every week for us to look at. There's a huge database of locations and storylines and backstories and companions and you name it. I mean, there's gonna be so much depth to this. The interesting thing about this game is that you can play it dozens and dozens of times and never have the same game because your decisions are going to really have a huge effect on how the storyline unfolds and whether you decide to, kill the kobolds or befriend the kobolds or whatever you're doing. If you befriend the trolls, there could be trolls that come in and start living in your city and stuff, and there could be like a troll tavern and who knows what else. I mean, it could just literally start, expanding that way. Next time you could be totally lawful good and kill all the monsters, and you might have, paladins and stuff walking through your cities are going to really kind of benefit from what happens in the game, and so there's a lot of thought going into how to make the city and the kingdom a living character, which is really exciting. Anyways, you guys are going to see a lot more in this as we go forward, but we wanted to share what we had right now, and with that, I will turn you back over to Mr. Eric Mona.
Okay, Lisa, thank you very, very much. I assume when you said you want to see Eric with a big purple beard, you're talking about Eric Keith, the cosplaying Eric from Paizo. Yeah. Hey, Valeros, something looks like Valeros. That is amazing. How about the purple beard next year? Eric, can you do that? Yes, all right. Whoa. Okay, you guys, we are getting very, very, very near to the end. I would ask everyone, if you're interested, to stick around. John Compton will be running the trivia contest, the infamous trivia contest here at Paizo. Bring your sharpened pencils. Actually, I think we probably have things to write with. And we will challenge your knowledge of Golarion. But before we go to the trivia contest, there's just a couple of more people and things that I wanted to acknowledge. How about a round of applause for the staff of the Doubletree Hotel? They've been gracious with us. Thank you very much. Very tasty dinner, and I think I speak for all of us when I say thank you for having alcohol in the Pathfinder Society room. It's a really remarkable achievement for all of us and for gamerkind in general, so thank you for that. Thank you again to everyone at Paizo, or who is not at Paizo, but who has come to run games for us at this show. As a GM, I know how difficult that can be. Thank you for all your hard work and all your preparation. Thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of our heart. If you guys did not run games here, it'd just be a bunch of nerds talking, which wouldn't be worth the money that you pay to come. So thank you very much for that. So thank you. I'd also like to just take another moment. Everybody at Paizo has worked really, really hard on this, but I want to take just one more moment to say thank you to Paizo's operations team and the warehouse, customer service. These guys are working their asses off to make this the best little intimate big convention that we can do. So to all of them, and especially to their fearless leader, our Chief Operations Officer, Jeff Alvarez, who really is the heart and soul of PaizoCon. Just thank you so much, you guys. We literally could not do this without your hard work. And then I guess lastly, by way of a corny exit, I just want to say one more time, thank you guys to you for being here with us. Thank you to Liz and Tim and all the other folks who were there that first PaizoCon. I know Russ Taylor was there, he was bragging about the other day. Thank you, Russ. Russ is saying he thinks he might be the only person who's not a Paizo staff member who's run a game. Tim Nightingale, yeah, so you're not the only one, Russ. Stop talking, this is not yours. Okay, so thank you to all of the founders. Thank you if this is your first time at PaizoCon. Thank you to all our special guests. Thank you to the partner companies. Thank you to Lisa and Vic for owning the thing. And thank you all so much for coming. This is nothing without you guys, seriously. So thank you. Stick around for trivia. See you in the bar. See you next year.